Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to the LJL OU's coverage of the LJL. We have had 6 banger games today, and you join us for a couple more. My name is Middlecott, and joining me for these remaining 2 games is Mabinogi. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty well. Personally, we've had a number of great games today, and now we're going to finally see two matchups with for the best team. One against Burning Core, which should be a bit of a fun one, and then we get on to the match of the week up against Axis.
Yeah, Rascal Jesters have looked very good, definitely been our strongest team, but Burning Core have struggled. They struggled this spring, and that hasn't really stopped in the summer split. So, like you were saying, expect this to be a fairly easily win for the Jesters.
Yeah, it should be. Sure, I've done an oopsie.
It's all cool. It's all cool. It's all cool. We're all good. But yeah, so Rascal Jesters have looked like a team that's really firing on all cylinders in a lot of way. The bot lane, Soul and Secret, looked very good in spring and have looked even better in summer. They're really sort of leveling up. And Kinatu has also been playing exceptionally well. I think it'd be fairly reasonable to characterize him as a sort of Ebby style player. He's all about getting advantages in lane and then snowballing them into the rest of the map. But for Burning Core, once again, the players just haven't really shown up when they've needed to.
Yeah, no, Burning Core has they're leaning on their top side very heavily, trying to get things done there, but as you expect, it's just coming down to the bot lane isn't really up to standard, as we have seen time and time again, and it's just faltering. And this sort of faltering from Yuhi is going to hurt a lot up against the likes of Soul and Secret, who should just, even though they aren't really the most, I guess, lane dominant, they should still be smashing what Yuhi is going to be putting forth with Proud.
Well, the thing about it, a lot of the times, it isn't necessarily what you can do in lane that matters so much as your output in team fights. And I think, whilst the difference in lane might not be that big, I think that's really where Soul comes online, is his ability to find those extra couple of auto attacks in these skirmishes, which can make all the difference between you winning a team fight and losing it. Top lane as well. You mentioned Burning Core have been leaning on that very heavily. Ray Farki has definitely looked like their best player. But coming up against Kinatu, I feel like this is a place that Rascal Jesters can really look to neutralize the one strength that BC have.
Yeah, you definitely look towards what Kanatu has been playing. 4 games of Renekton, 2 of Gnar, and 2 of Gwen. He's just been on these picks that control the early lane, try and get those advantages. And because of that, Ray Farki is going to have a much more difficult time. Hasn't exactly been playing the most lane dominant champs. There's been a bit of Jace here and Nocturne, but it's just such a wide smattering of all sorts of different things that it's not really showing a clear identity of what Ray Farki wants to be doing.
Yeah.
And that is going to be upsetting what Burning Core brings.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how that plays out as we're going to be jumping into Champion Select very shortly. As here we've now got it on our screen. We can see the players here as well. So let's get started. The Olaf ban immediately from Rascal Jester is going to be targeted towards once. And I'm expecting from BC a little bit more focus on these meta bans, stuff like the Gwen and perhaps the Akali as well.
Yeah, things looking towards these sort of big power picks on the patch, things like Nocturne, things like Akali. I would also not be against seeing things like LeBlanc removed. There's just so many strong power picks on the patch right now that you can throw your bans, you can throw whatever bans you want down, and there'll still be something strong for the team to pick, right? So it's a matter of what you want to play against.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of the small blessings of being on red side now. There are so many champions which are not necessarily completely obnoxious. Well, I can think of maybe 1 or 2, but there's definitely a lot of picks that you're fairly happy to pick up wherever you are. As we see the Xin Zhao removed, all the bans really focused towards this jungle, actually. Both Burning Core and Rascal Jesters recognizing the strength of that role. But it's going to be the Nocturne locked in. We aren't on 11.14 just yet, so this is still a flex which can exist between that top, mid, and jungle.
Yeah, and it is such a strong pick. It will, I think, with the heavy focus towards the jungle, it is more likely to land in the hands of Hakameka?
Hachimecha.
Hachimecha. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay, Hachimecha. Is it a hard cut? Is it a cut or a cut?
I don't know. I've been guessing this entire time.
Hachimecha. I'm going to go with Mecha. But it's going to be rounded out with a very strong 2v2 sort of bot lane. Karma, of course, is flexible, but if you throw it into that support position, you will have lane control absolutely with all the poke, but you are at risk of the all-in engage of something like the Leona being picked up here. And you can round that out with something that can follow up nicely, like the Varus or the Callisto if you wanted to go all in, but they do lock in the Varus.
Yeah, we're already seeing from Rascal Jester a very clear game plan. They've got a lot of lockdown CC with that Varus and the Leona, and a lot of dive as well, comboing that up with the Nocturne. So Burning Court will have to be looking to play on the back foot for a lot of this game, something that Ezreal and Karma do extraordinarily well. Kindred would be a nice pickup here. We have seen it taken into dive in the past, and that will be going to once in the jungle.
Yes, so we're going to see that Kindred picked up, which does imply that it's more likely to be that Kindred mid, which I think then gives you a lot of options to work with in the bot lane. I would like to see something like a Braum come out for Proud here. That would be a very strong matchup into the 2v2. You can deny a lot of what Varus and Leona want to do, plus it pairs extremely nicely with the ability for the Mystic Shot to proc those concussive blows. So that's what I want to see. You could ban it away right now if you really wanted to, but it's not really such a strong power pick that you're worried about it. Again, lots of things you can go for. The LeBlanc taken away, lots of these mid lane picks. What we expect with the Karma most likely going there seems a little bit interesting for RJ. Just wanting to force that situation.
Yeah, force Galliano onto something that doesn't really have that same level of carry potential. I think it's interesting that Burning Core have banned out the Renekton. Kinatu is very good at this champion, and BC need to enable Wraitharchy if they want to win this game. A champion which is very good at enabling side lanes is the Galio, which would imply is Karma going to the bot lane. Could still be flex topside, of course, but with RJ locking in their final few picks here, hovering the Gnar, which could go topside, does enable that Nocturne flex to still exist.
Yeah, it has that ability to flex between jungle and mid now. You've pretty much guaranteed what your top lane is. Secret's they're gonna need to round it out and reveal their hand shortly. They do have to pick now. I expect safe sort of mid laner. The Zoe nice adds into that sort of poke composition with the Varus. It's a nice mix between dive and sort of long range poke. So RJ coming out with a very good composition that can take team fights, look for picks, just do a little bit of everything. And if they go for this Yuumi knock, that makes a lot more sense. It's still a very, that's better. Something that can actually threaten the backline, gives you a way for your Galio to get in there. I'm expecting it to be a Galio support, just on the off chance. But yeah, the Wukong gives you a way to threaten the backline, make sure there's actually something happening. If it was like that Yuumi, they would have just died instantly to the poke, just nothing that they can do. Especially once a Serpent's Fang is built on Soul to deal with what Karma provides.
Yeah, I am getting a little bit of an issue briefly, just disconnected from this spectate. Hopefully we'll be getting in very soon. But yeah, so Rascal Jesters, there's a lot of poke here. And I think that's very nice when you're setting up with like the Nocturne, because loves to assassinate people and get down and brawl, but the damage isn't quite as high as it used to be. So having this sort of setup from your range damage carries, meaning you can dive in and get that assassination very quickly, get some triumph procs, a little bit more health, and start having a bit more fun in this matchup.
Yeah, and when you're relying on that sort of long range poke in your composition, it means vision is so much more important. of course, have quite decent face checking tools in terms of Gnar, just poke in general, and Leona. But if you can set up vision and more importantly vision denial, it makes what Burning Core want to do so much harder because they can't afford to walk into the bubbles from Zoe, into the chains of corruption. Even just an arrow or a paddle star will just destroy the health bars on a relatively squishy lineup. And if it lands onto Yuhi, or I imagine once looking to be the main star carry here, it's not gonna look good.
But we are onto the rift right now for Rascal Jesters versus Burning Core. Rascal Jesters looking to continue their dominance at the top of the table after a little bit of a shaky time last week. Burning Core desperately trying to get that second win on the board and really kickstart their season.
Yeah, we're seeing a bit of a hover down to the bot side from recap. Just looking to see if they can find anyone out, but as it is, no response from Burning Core to try and sort of push towards that top side overload the other side of the map. So we're just going to be sitting here waiting for things to happen. And we're going to have to look towards what these junglers are going to do. And you have to say, not much unless we see some sort of cheese come out, because both these junglers aren't really looking to make the early ganks. Kindred is a little bit healthier at doing so than Nocturne, but both are probably just going to be rushing towards 6, trying to get as much gold into their pockets as possible. And the leash from Burning Core is going to help accelerate once through his early clear. Well, Hakameka is just going to have to sort of mosey his own way through.
The Mystic Shot as well, the Grump. See, I don't know. There's a little bit that's not actually sure whether that makes it like a better clear, because it does end up going towards your bot lane. So you need to like run like an extra like couple of like meters as the jungler to actually get to the camp. So I still haven't worked out whether that actually improves the speed of your clear or just like takes you away from where you want to be. We see the runes on our screen right now. There is the Unsealed Spellbook picked up for recap. I am starting to see this a lot on Zoe's. Seems to be the rune of choice for her.
Yeah, definitely being able to get off onto the map a little bit more, have more access to teleports, means that, especially up in a meta where there's a lot of assassins, things like the LeBlanc that are just trying to shove out the wave and roam, means it's a lot easier to match them, especially in the early levels where your Paddle Star isn't quite one-shotting the wave just yet. As we see the progression through the jungle, a little bit caught up by the Nocturne, extremely high-based stats going to make their clear very quick.
So Mabinogi, we are about to see who will win this game. In 15 seconds time, it will be revealed to us whether Once is on the correct side of the map to get the Rift Scuttle mark.
Yes.
And I mean, like, legit, man, if he doesn't get that, then the entire game is doomed. So that's going to be really interesting to see whether that happens.
Well, AI bot is currently sitting at 50-50, but I wish they'd keep that up until it spawns, and it has spawned topside, so congratulations once you've won the game. You've won the coin flip.
Easy GG, Burning Core going at 2-6, really dominant performance against Rascal Jesters.
Absolutely, and even has the top lane pressure to make sure there's no cheeky lane crossing from the Nocturne. It's an easy, secure one on the board. He's well on the way to success. And now we're just going to see these junglers reset and look to make something happen. There's a good use of the pressure from RJ to make sure they can spot ones on his reset, make sure they know exactly where he is, keep track of him. And from there, just looking to wait for anything to happen. Dragon is about to spawn. That's probably going to be the first point of any sort of real action, as that is your main first objective on the map, unless someone makes something happen.
Yeah. And I think that's Going to be fairly nice for Rascal Jesters. We talked about Soul and Secret being a very strong bot lane in the pregame. Already up 11 CS as once is trying to make something happen in the mid lane. Recap does have access to that stolen exhaust. Pops it immediately onto the Kindred. The snare from the Karma does come out as this is a lot of damage dropped on his head. And that's first blood going over to Burning Cause once.
Recap, you needed to flash so much earlier. You needed to break that tether before it got the snare off. And as we are going to hit that pause, it is it's just a nice free opportunity for once. No real I don't think there was a stack marked on it, so small victories for Rascal Jester, but you gotta respect it. Just flash earlier.
Yeah. Just don't do the bad thing.
Yeah. Just play good.
Play good. I think it's actually pretty significant in the matchup. Obviously, Zoe loves stealing away summoner spells. When she doesn't have the flash of her own, there's always the possibility that someone else's appears out of nowhere and you can use that. But you never want to trade flashes with the Zoe like straight up because she's just going to be able to steal it and get away. That didn't happen there. So it is a summoner spell disadvantage. And because the Karma can speed up the Kindred, get that slow off, get the tether stun onto the Zoe as well, suddenly becomes a lot harder for Recap to play this matchup. You see, Galliano and Once didn't burn their flashes. So she's so much more vulnerable than you would expect right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that, the flash, you just had to say, I'm either not flashing at all and giving up first blood, or flash early, break the tether. And now we're just going to see it's Ray Farkey bullying onto this and Minina. And I got a question. I got to question this nut.
Okay.
Why LJL? Just like...
It's our thing. It's our thing.
Just like... surely teams have someone whose job it is to just look at other regions and go, don't pick Nah.
Don't pick Nah.
Don't pick Nah.
I know, man. I love it. We've got so many great Nah players. Kinatu, obviously Ebby as well. I think Nat plays it fairly decently as well. Is one of our lower tier top laners a lot would say, but can still pull out the Neen Nah. Renekton as well. Those are like the two champions that, like, if you're a top laner in LJL, you need to be able to play them. Otherwise, you just can't exist. The Dragon is going into unexistence now as Hatchemetcha picks that one up. We'll start stacking that nice and early. Obviously, with Cloud Drake taken off quite quickly, it means that the soul that you're going to get probably going to be a little bit more useful.
It found a good window to get in there, pick up an objective for free, utilizing this bot lane pressure. They're even going to sneak away a tower plate for next to nothing as Yuhi resets. So really, it's coming down to this bot lane being the big thing keeping RJ in this game at the moment, because right now it's, I mean, the gold's dead even, but there is a kill onto that Kindred, getting them a little bit further ahead, getting them closer to that mythic. And that's the one that they want. That's your win condition on Bernicle, getting your 80 carries ahead that your Karma and Galio are there to defend.
Yeah. Double ADC composition. Ray Farkey as well can do bits. They're fairly squishy on Rascal Jesters. Inside their main damage carries, obviously with the Zoe and the Varus. Also fairly immobile in real terms. So if Ray Farkey is able to find a flank on the Monkey King, it can cause some terror. And we did actually see briefly, I'm not sure if you were paying too much attention to the minimap, but Hatchemetcha was able to steal away a mark from once that spawned on the Scuttle Crab. And with this one on his Grump, now they are denying the Kindred out of those crucial range increases.
Yeah, still only has that first mark. Going to wander through. I'm not sure if that control ward was... Yeah, the control ward is just a new place. Unaware from is Secret, and once is now in position. Karma as well. This should be a pretty clean dive, but dissuaded by the teleport.
Yeah, Zoe, apparently a very threatening presence.
I guess you are also not entirely certain where the Nocturne is, and they can join at a moment's notice if they are in range for that paranoia. So they decide we don't want to risk the 4-on-4 and back it off. It's TP advantage obtained, not a lot invested. You're pretty happy if you're Burning Core.
I mean, if you're Hachimechi, you don't even need to actually jump on anyone. If you pop that paranoia, then there's going to be that thing in the back of sort of Burning Coal's mind where they go, okay, a Nocturne can jump on us
Yeah,
immediately,
paranoia.
and you just back away. Paranoia! Wow, they actually
Yeah.
got the ability name right. That's amazing.
It's true. That's
Oh,
that
man,
is why it is named paranoia.
I hate playing against Nocturne, man. Like, if you're in like a 5 stack, you're just like, the Nocturne like ult comes down, you get that reduced vision, and everyone is going, where's he going? Where's he going? Where's he going? And I think that's a feeling that translates pretty well.
It's always fun playing top lane where you see that all come down, you just walk back to your turret, and you're like, well, I'm not going to risk anything. Yeah. I'm just going to go sit over here and cry for a while.
Yeah.
And then he goes bot lane anyway.
It's been a pretty risk-averse start from both these teams. Obviously, Recap overextending a little bit in that mid lane falling down. But aside from that, and the attempted dive, I don't even really want to call it that, not seeing too much aggressive plays, as now the Caster Curse coming out, the Paranoia directly onto Gallialu, but he's able to get out of that one. Secret drops the Solar Flare, but it's not going to be enough. Once picks up his second kill of the game and is looking for more. The slow just comes out in time.
They did Secret so dirty. They're like, all right, go in, flash out immediately, run away. They did him so dirty, and he just goes down for free. That's another kill. That's another mark over on top of the Kindred. See here, look, just all the diving. Secret flashes in, and Hakamega's just like, nope, see ya, buddy. Have a good one. Just,
I think we're seeing the same thing again. His Secret is going to fall for the second time this game. Once for this third kill, TP in for Gallialu as Reifaki is going forward with that Cyclone. But Hachimechi with a very nice spell shield able to get out of that one. As actually end up being a 1-for-1 actually, as I think Yuhi died off screen there whilst we were in the replay. So Rascal Jester's bot lane doing well on one side of the map, but falling down on the other.
Yeah, I can forgive Secret for that first one. He got dogged by the boys. That one was just his own fault.
We'll have to see the replay.
Yeah. Soul on the other hand, Soul just decides to take matters into his own hands, however, and just gets the solo kill. Yeah, it's just gonna be. He's not even gonna land the chains across.
How do you get a solo kill here?
It's just gonna do a lot of damage. It's just a lot of damage.
That's nice. That's nice.
Had the serrated Dirk, and there's not a lot of base armor on the Ezreal, so it's just gonna rip through him. Now he's got that Duskblade completed, so he's gonna hurt even more. And yeah, we're back at looking at Soul saying, please carry us, good sir, because this Kindred's looking a little scary now at 3-0.
Yeah. He is really the sort of one strong point for Rascal Jesters. The gold is still even, but like you mentioned, it is that AD carry versus AD carry matchup. Maybe not the one that you'd expecting. Yuhi falling quite far behind, is 20 CS down, but once making up for it in earnest. We'll have to see how that interaction, how these champions interact as we get later on, because there is a very good chance that Soul can just poke down once from a million miles away before he can even get in. But with the Berserker Greaves and the Kraken Slayer already picked up, if once gets in range of anyone, he can delete them so quickly.
And they'll use, and this bot lane pressure, and Hakameka's has been pretty good at tracking once and found the opportunities to take away these 2 dragons for free. And that means they can look to this Infernal Soul as a win condition, and Infernal Soul Varus is just filthy. Same with the Zoe, so there's going to be a lot of things to worry about if you are burning core, if you can't wrestle back control of this Dragon Pit. But looks to be a bit of a topside play heading up to Kanatu, but they are spotted out and they are going to be collapsed upon.
Oh yeah, once may have overstepped here. Doesn't have time to get out the Land's Respite. The stun is just too big. Treating back onto the Nocturne immediately as Reifaki will fall as well. It's a 2-for-1 in favor of Rascal Jesters.
A bubble from Recap, though, from halfway across the map.
Normal champion, normal champion.
Normal champion. All right, let's design a champion. It's great. It's great. Zoe coming in clutch. Definitely earning that kill. Definitely didn't just steal it at the end. But It's a good turnaround. It's a big shutdown onto the Kindred, and they knew it from the start, even before he was on Vision. And it's just at this point, you're too far gone. You can't get away from it. The bubble flies in, just make sure there's no hope for Kindred. Didn't even have the Lamb's Respite, which might have helped them turn it around, but they went for the play without it, and it bit them in the ass, really.
Yeah. Our status definitely bitten, but that's really nice for Rascal Jesters. They've now got 2 poke champions that are incredibly powerful, as Recap might make me eat my words as he's forced to flash away, but in that summoner does still get out of dodge. He's learning! It's character development!
He's learnt! Now finally now he just needs to get through the power of friendship and he can beat the big bad Kindred. But yeah, they've got gold onto their main damage threats now, does RJ, and that is perfect for them to set up, keep having control around this. They've just been able to completely bully down this turret. They're probably going to get first brick, even though they weren't able to really get the Rift Herald or make anything happen with it. As long as the wave clear in the middle lane's good enough, and there we go, it goes down. So first brick over onto Soul. He's going to be very happy, well on the way to his second item, and they're going to reach these item breakpoints in time for that next dragon.
Mabinogi, I wish I could see I wish I had control of our observer right now and we could see the gold, but unfortunately that is not the case. But Rascal Jester's definitely in a pretty good spot. That's Infernal Drake 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes away. We'll expect to see them play towards that one fairly soon. But right now, if you're Burning Core, are you feeling like this game is getting away for you, or are you still fairly confident with where you're at?
Well, your comp doesn't necessarily scale bad. The double 80 carries with the supports are always effective, but Kanata's just going to hop the wall, and this top laner has had so much thrown at him, and he's just vibing. He's gotten that kill from that turnaround, and he's just walked away from that one. Didn't have a flash to worry about. Just hops over the wall.
Yeah, nice and easy. And looking forward to that Drake fight in like around about a minute's time. Looking at mythics completed, Rascal Jesters have got 4 on their side, but Burning Core currently only sat on that Kraken Slayer for once, and Gallialu's Shirelia's Reverie, Blessing, Go Fast
Shirelia's
button
Reverie.
thing. Shirelia's Reverie. I don't even know what it's called anymore, but that means they are going to be a little bit of a lower power level, and third Drake isn't really one that you want to be giving up, as Proud able to Justice Punch away from that one, but Burning Core haven't got any vision on this side of the map.
It's very interesting choice from Yuhi to go all in and rush that Manamuna before completing the Divine Sundra. It means he's not going to be able to sort of sustain through these fights as Rayfaki completes his own, but he should, in theory, be punching out a bit more damage if he can get that Maramuna to quickly transform in the next few seconds. He's still a fair bit away, so he's actually just going to be very underpowered for this fight. And once upon a time, there was a champion.
Soul is just ripping out people's souls with his damage. But look, there is no mana now on the Varus, so Rascal Jesters recognize that they can't contest this Drake and instead move towards the top side and could pick up this second Herald.
And in the top side, it's just Kanatu just hard shoving this wave. So they're going to trade a tower for a Rift Herald. A tower and a Rift Herald for a dragon, and that's more than worth for Rascal Jester. Sure, you delay your sort of a dragon soul sort of thing, but you weren't really in a great position to contest. You get walking away with more in terms of what you get on the map, and if you can convert this Rift Herald into another tower, like a good shove in mid. Hell, if it gets a charge off in mid at all, you're getting that tower. You're walking away with 2 towers for a dragon. You're walking away happy.
Yeah, and that's what like getting those first couple Drakes like early means. It gives you space to play the rest of the map when we get to this sort of mid-game point. I touched briefly on wanting to see the gold earlier. Holy moly, Kanatu and Soul are absolutely just ridiculously accelerated, both 1.5k ahead of their counterparts. These are the players that Rascal Jesters will be looking to play around.
Yeah, so you're seeing where the gold is coming through for Rascal. It's all in the side lanes, and that's exactly where you want it to be. It's quite impressive that all the focus of the game was around this mid lane, and then Rascal Jester is just sort of winning on the sides on their own. But now they've got the control over the mid lane. They have a Rift Herald in their back pocket. Let's see what they want to do with it. Once looking being very aggressive. He's got a good chunk down, but not going to commit too much further. Just sort of playing that waiting game, waiting for something to really break out, looking for someone to stand well out of position, looking to win the siege and take down that last outer structure.
Oh, could be doing it onto Secret here. That's a lot of damage immediately down onto him, as that's Yuhi cleansing away from the chains of corruption. And no one will go down just yet. These teams, they recognize that these mid lane towers are so important, and both of them have excellent ways of destroying them. Obviously, the Rift Herald for Rascal Jesters, and then Burning Core do have the range advantage in a lot of scenarios, so want to pick those up as well, as Once is going very far forward onto Recap, is playing right at the edge of where he can, but the paranoia will be popped immediately onto the Kindred, who's used that Land's Respite so early. The heroic entrant comes out, and Proud defends his jungler, as Herald gets another charge.
Yeah, and though nobody goes down, so much was blown. It's a massive win for Rascal Jesters. They get that tower thanks to the Herald. They get the second charge off, and they denied a huge wave on the bot side because they just had better silence. They even get the teleport from Rayfaki, whereas Kanatu was there from the start. So even though it's just a complete wash of a fight, RJ comes ahead with so much thanks to superior map positioning, thanks to superior side lane control, and just that earlier decision to trade away the dragon for the Rift Herald.
As we see items starting to come through, Soul has completed the Serpent's Fang alongside that Dustblade, so the shields that the Khan wants to put out, and actually the Galio as well, the magic damage shielding off his ultimate is actually reduced by the Serpent's Fang, almost paradoxically, so really nice pickup for Soul here. We do see the Mirror Mana transformation for Yuhi as he is getting ever closer to the Divine Sunderer. Dragon is up in a minute and a half. That's a Triforce, actually, as Once is going forward onto Secret, who pops the ultimate, but it doesn't quite save him, as Rayfaki is going to get one last bonk, and Hatchemetcha may have caught himself out here. That's a nice flash away, as Once continues to chase, but won't do so under the tower. Another needless death for Secret, and that's giving Burning Core a lot more pressure, as Yuhi flashes away from the piercing arrow. Not sure about that one, mate.
Yeah, you really didn't need to. You have plenty of time to reset. But I'm looking at this half-bound axe and just going, well, this is a break from tradition. He's going back, or rather a return to, as he's going for that Triforce. He wants that extra damage. He's not going to have as much survivability in the fights, but if he can land, but those Qs should hurt quite a hell of a lot more. Though, especially considering there's not like a huge front line where 9% max health damage is going to do a lot. So he's just looking to match the sort of poke that Soul is putting out, do a lot of damage, get a bit of extra movement speed going. But with that flash down, he also has to play a lot more carefully. And that's going to giving the Rascal Jesters a means to get in there, clear out this vision, and make it a lot harder for Burning Core to approach this dragon. They still have the Rift Scuttler though, so that's going to keep them quite happy and let them know no one's actually starting Dragon just yet.
As you may have to eat your words, as Hatchemetcha immediately hears you, runs over and starts that one up, but Burning Core look to take over mid priority here. Could just trade this for the tower, but they want to move in a little bit further. The piercing arrows do so much damage as Rayfaki is trying to find it in. Dragon is down to 1,000 as it is secured. For Rascal Jester, they're now on Soul Point, but can they take the fight? Rayfaki immediately going on to Hatchemetcha, blows the Cyclone, and the Hero's Entrance comes out onto him, but Burning Core all walk to the other side. Rascal Gestures, the Leona ult doesn't hit onto anyone, as Proud is going to be falling. That's going to be Rayfaki down as well. What a play here! Soul flashing forward, does so much damage. Secret as well on the backside, and all of a sudden, Rascal Gestures take the fight. The final arrow does not collect, but it is a quantum of solace for Golialu as Burning Core run away with their tails between their legs.
They only lose their jungler and they'll have more than enough damage to take their win and take it straight to the Baron. They're going to walk away with 2 objectives with a 1 team fight. And now this game has completely blown open for Rascal Jester. They're a 4k gold lead. They're going to pick up this easily and be able to convert it into these final 2 remaining outer turrets. And it looked so bad for them at the start. They were being corralled perfectly by Ray Farkey.
That's close, man. He plays on the edge. Plays on the edge for sure, but it looks so good here. Ray Farkey just comes in on the side, corrals them beautifully. The damage from the Divine Sunder doing so much to Hakameka. It looks like he's completely removed from the fight, but he dives back in, and Kanatu buys so much space that they can't actually punish this aggression from Ray Farkey and Proud. And then the turnaround from Steel, a beautiful pick onto Yuhi. Once is left to his lonesome, and it's just so well played. Huge props to Kanatu for buying that space, letting Soul and Recap pop off on the back line. Yeah. Look very good in lane. It's look very good in team fights as Rascal Jesters will be looking to take down these last remaining outer structures, like you said. The wave clear on Burning Core isn't great either, so if you chunk down a couple of people with these piercing arrows, as Proud so not kindly demonstrates there, you will have the advantage pushing onto these objectives. And now these outer towers, they do give an absolute disgusting amount of gold, quite frankly.
That's
we
true.
saw Kanatu pick up 600 when he was solo pushing topside earlier. It was very fucky. Having to tussle a little bit with this Gnar. And Burning Core definitely not playing back by any means.
No, once being very aggressive, pushing up, trying to find his way in. Trying to find his way maybe onto a flank, but guess who's being caught out? It is Ray Farkey. He's got nowhere to go. He's just gone.
Absolutely deleted. Up a couple of ults on his head. The sun and the darkness as well. There's a combo going on there between Hachimetra and Secret, but yeah, again, Ray Farkey getting caught, and this is going to open up this bottom side for Rascal Jesters to push with impunity as Burning Core look a little bit distraught. They haven't reacted to this as fast as they maybe could have done once going full, but immediately getting CC. Pops that Lamb's Respite super early. Yes, the Galio is going to be on top of him, but that's a beautiful Zhonya's from Secret as the damage isn't being done to Rascal Jesters. They have picked up a kill, and they're going to be able to push through and take this inhib.
Yeah, it's so lackadaisical from Burning Core. They just sort of go, oh dear, you're sieging on our bot lane. We shall wander over and get immediately caught out by a chain to corruption. They did their best, but it didn't matter. They traded Proud's life for onces, which is the lot of the support, I suppose. But it's still going to result in an inhibitor taken with a whole minute to reset and make sure they have full control over this Baron. It's completely lit up on that bot side jungle. There is no way for Burning Core to really aggress into it. So Rascal Justice just has to set up and wait for Burning Core to come to them, and they can pick up a free Infernal Soul.
And this is the thing that's so frustrating sometimes about watching Burning Core. Once looked really good in the early game, was 3-0-1 at one point. Since then, hasn't really had the same impact, and this is why Rascal Jesters keep winning games. They don't panic when they fall behind early on. They just keep it nice and tight, and like you said, this is an Infernal Soul up in 30 seconds, and Burning Core have got no way of looking in at this.
Yeah, you look at Burning Core and the way they play the early game, and you can say, these are pretty good players. You're pretty happy with them, but once the game sort of moves away from looking like, oh my god! Okay, yeah, once the game moves away from solo queue, and you require a lot more coordination, they just fall apart. And with once just completely removed.
That's not normal. Well, I think we see why once hasn't been able to have an impact, because I guess Soul could just take all of his health bar with a single Q. There was something else that must have hit him there, surely.
Yeah, it was a Nocturne Q. It was a Nocturne Q.
Oh, nice, that's nice.
You know, that's still just disgusting amounts of damage. Yeah,
And yeah,
it's
Eternal Soul time. So enjoy that next time once. You won't escape with 10 HP. You'll be going back to the summoning platform.
yeah. At this point, it's just so much damage coming out from Soul. He's got 3 items completed. He's gone back for nothing. He hasn't gone back for anything. He's making
Well,
higher, but
he has picked up that stopwatch now. So even if you are able to catch him out, get on top of him, Ray Farkey, or once on another sort of madman flank, he can just sit still for 2.5 seconds, completely ignore you. And then Secret will drop a bunch of CC on your face. Kanatu will come in with the Meganar, and your dive, in quotation marks, will be completely thwarted.
it just feels super rough for Burning Core because they really cannot stand up in these sort of with the battle lines drawn because the poke from Rascal Jester is just absolutely disgusting. Whereas Yuhi is trying his best, but he can only do so much. Once I still don't actually think has gotten the range increase. I think he might only be sitting on 3. So
Oh, that feels bad.
just cannot quite make. They can't quite find a way in and get these team fights to happen. And the one that looked like it was going to go so well, it was just completely denied around that dragon.
Yeah, Baron is up now. I expect Rascal Jesters to start moving towards this one fairly soon. They've got that bot lane inhib down for another minute and a half, so Rayfark is going to have to be on wave clear duty for this foreseeable future, which does give them so much more priority onto the big Burper Worm.
And with this Infernal Soul, this thing should just disappear. It's actually going down kind of slowly. I mean, you don't have the best takers in terms of just what your champions are, but you don't really care that much about the Baron. You care about the poke you can put down. What
that's going to be a TP. Rayfark is going in as this is going down. That's unfortunate as Burning Core are forced to run away. Piercing Arrow doesn't quite finish off Rayfarky, but the Baron does go over to Rascal Jesters.
That was actually insanely beautiful from Recap. He pretty much knew exactly when once was going to hop over the wall to join Rayfarky, times the pedal cell perfectly and pops him instantly. Rayfarky is also limping away. And that's a Baron. They're just, at this point, they can just sort of walk it down the mid lane. And what's Burning Core really gonna do? What are they gonna do?
I think they're gonna die. I think they're gonna die. Mabinoki that is the mid lane inhib falling, the top one in short order. There are barely any structures on the map left for Burning Core, just these Nexus towers and the Nexus, and I'm not sure they're going to be able to put up much of a resistance once going on a flank, hoping for a Hail Mary here as he hits onto Hachimecha. The Solar Flare doesn't quite connect onto the Kindred, but the Nexus is open. Rascal Jesters are going to take one more fight against Burning Core, but they should win it in short order, as they're actually just like dancing back, dancing around. There we are, the engage onto Rayfarky. That's Soul picking up his 4th kill of the game. Wukong falling down as well. The Lamb's Respite does absolutely nothing. Doesn't affect the Nexus at all, mate. As once drops as well. And Rascal Jesters are going to go 6-1 and push down Burning Core.
Yeah, it was a good early game. It was a decent fight at the start from Burning Core, but once it broke open, it was just pure control from Rascal Jesters. The compositions just were such that there was nothing that could be done. Burning Core just got rocked.
Yeah, it was just unfortunate. And it looked, I feel like we've said this about Burning Core about a million times already, this split. It looked good. There was points where you could play the game. But then that AD carry diff came through. I think that was really the thing that, whilst it's funny to see once get one shot by piercing arrows, that is actually all coming from the bot lane. There was a lot of gold fed into the Varus very early on, and once he starts getting to a couple of items with the squishy composition that Burning Core drafted for themselves, starts to look really rough.
Yeah, absolutely. It just complete dominance across pretty much all aspects of the game. Outside of a few early lane mistakes from the likes of recap, but
Yeah.
just really great performance out of Rascal Justice.
Yeah. If you get the win, doesn't matter. Results-based analysis is the best. We're going to be
Yeah.
going to a short break now, but we will see you in a few minutes. Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to the LJL OU with us. After Rascal Jester's put on a little bit of a clinic against Burning Core, able to take a very convincing win against them. Mabinogi, you had a couple of thoughts about what we just witnessed.
There were a few things that just really highlighted the superiority of Rascal Jesters. There was that one team fight where so much was blown, everything happened in the mid lane, but no one died. But
Yep.
Rascal Jesters still managed to get away with the mid lane inhibitor because they had taken the Rift Herald from an earlier trade, where they traded a top lane turret, solo gold onto Kanatu, plus the Rift Herald for one dragon. They used that to get the mid lane outer, a charge onto the inner, plus they denied so much sideway farm, and they got a teleport for free from Rayfaki. So even though it was a complete wash and nobody actually died, Rascal Justice actually came away with such a huge advantage out of just side lane management, objective control, and knowing when to trade and what to do. It was actually just beautiful to watch.
Yeah. It did feel a lot of ways watching that game that whilst the player differential may not have been massive, I think it was definitely bot lane and top lane especially. I think advantages did exist for Rascal Jester. Just the team cohesion didn't feel like it was quite there for Burning Core.
Yeah, no, they didn't. They looked a little bit lost, like when they were sieging onto the bot lane in here. But the Burning Core was just very late to the party. Once just leading the charge, despite being a kindred, getting completely caught out by the chains of corruption.
Oh,
and
yeah.
leading to a lost fight into a lost inhibitor for free, and just perfect setup to just take that Infernal Soul for free.
Yeah, and it felt like the number of times that Burning Core sort of approached a fight and they didn't really know how they wanted to do it is indicative of a team that is sort of at the lower end of the standings.
Yeah.
So I don't think there was anything massively surprising there. For Rascal Jesters, I think this is a win that they kind of needed because they looked a little bit shaky in their sort of previous games last weekend. And obviously, aside for that one death for recap in the mid lane, which I think was entirely avoidable, it was generally pretty clean from them.
Yeah, it was pretty clean. It should be a huge confidence boost into coming into the next match, which is up against another of the top teams in
Yeah.
Axis. So huge confidence boost. Axis also losing to CGA earlier, so maybe they're looking a little bit shaky.
Yeah.
That
It's
should be interesting.
should be interesting. Really excited to bring it to all of you watching. We're going to go to break for a few minutes, but like Mabinobi was talking about, we are going to have Rascal Jesters versus Axis right here in a moment. Don't go anywhere.